I'm Trish with today's QOTD question of the day, and this one's all about your signature dish. What's a family recipe you have that could beat Bobby Flay? Record your answer and be in the show.
As answers arrive, we add them to our 24-hour live game stream, and you can also check out the QOTD playlist right now for some of our best answers so far.
And don't miss a Thursday Big Show at 1 p.m. Eastern, where you'll help pick our weekly champion.
Guys, I feel like everyone has that one dish that they can make better than anybody else.
It's totally true, but like getting a good recipe takes a long time. And so I wasn't surprised as I saw, through some of the first answers that a lot of these were family recipes. So, it's like one generation works on it, the next generation perfects it, the next one kind of goes and like retunes it for the next generation. And then ultimately you get these family recipes that come up, tasting awesome. I come from a family that didn't cook. So it's a little bit harder for us because we were kind of down in like the macaroni and cheese out of the box level.
We have so many utensils. We have so many tools for cooking now. And, you're not even supposed to use measuring cups. You're supposed to weigh your flour because it's more accurate. And you're supposed to get large eggs and not just any egg and all that stuff. And back in the day, I think it was just trial and error. And they did do a lot of cooking. They did do a lot of baking, a lot more than we do in modern times here. And so I think that they just retained that. It was important. Right? I have already passed down my mac and cheese to my kids. And it's funny because they always, every time they make it, they say, oh, our friends raved about it, but it's really not the same. And I do use precise measurements and I do tell them, and to them, it's just, I don't think they're in the experience. It's just not the same, right?
This is what we were talking about last week. Yeah, with the kitchen, with 3 hours in the kitchen, right? Yeah, no, you have to be fully engaged and put down your phone, right? But can we get back to the point that your famous recipe, the thing that you're going to be a celebrity for, is friggin' mac and cheese?
Yeah. You know why? This is why I'm going to beat Bobby Flay. I'm going to tell you right now. Because he's going to try to church it up too much. He's going to try to reinvent the wheel. He's going to put in like some sort of haggis stomach, deep fried such and so. And I'm going to keep it just so basic and so perfect.
Pure.
It's pure.
Yeah. Just you're going to take that box and you're just going to just pour it right into and put the powder on it. Now, mac and cheese showed up like repeatedly among some of the early fan answers. People like mac and cheese and people have like 1,000 different ways of making it. Let me add, my mother used to make it with cornflakes.
Oh.
Right on the top
like a breadcrumb?
Yeah, with cheese and cornflakes, very, very crunchy. But this just goes to my point is that there's endless variations on mac and cheese. So
let's say it comes from your great grandma, right? And so everybody now knows the potato salad recipe and it's like the bomb, but it's never as good as when grandma makes it. There is something like that. It's that cooking from the heart, or maybe it's that little dash of this and a little bit of that, or maybe it's just that this is what she's famous for, right? This is great grandma's dish. And it just never quite tastes the same. It's never as good. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how many people could actually beat Bobby Flay, but I do know that you can have some level of celebrity within your friend group or within your family. It's always going to miss that element of like, it's grandma. She owns that, right?
But do you think that's just in your head? Or do you think that like your kids will be saying, oh, yes, Grandma Trisha's just did so much better than anybody ever else?
I really do. I think that's what makes it so delicious. It tastes like your childhood, right?
So you think your macaroni is better than your grandmother's possibly, but nobody will believe that in this generation.
But my kids will believe it about me. I just don't believe it about myself. Does that make sense?
100%.
My grandma made this hash every year when we would get together for Christmas. And after she passed, everyone was like trying to replicate the recipe to like do it how she did it. I've never really been around for the making of it. I have been around for the pouring it onto the pan and like the quick of like, oh, you got to take it off right now. Like we're still trying now to like get the cooking process right. We were always like, we would cut it up into squares, but then now we're like, it's literally mush. But so yeah, there's just something about the way that grandma used to make it literally that's like,
No, I'm famous for a dish.
What's your dish?
My dish is called Sky High Pie. And I make a pie that is like this tall, like pumpkin pie, apple pie, whatever. But instead of being like this in a round circle, it's like this, and everybody loves it. To make it work, you have to remove moisture, because the key is that when you pick up a piece of pumpkin pie the next day after Thanksgiving, you want to be able to like lift it with your hand out of the fridge, because you're stealing it, turn it sideways and stick it in your mouth. And so that really requires to hold together. It has to really hold. And when you get really high, there's a lot of weight on it. So the key is that you have to remove moisture from the pumpkin, and that involves putting it into a cheesecloth press and squeezing it until there's nothing left in there but pumpkin meat. And anyway, it's a ton of work, but I think that's the case with like great recipes.
Yes, it's about failing recipes, but it's also about beating Bobby Flay. And I think that the failing recipe part is a good strategy, because I've seen a couple of cooking shows, including Bobby Flay in like a hospital waiting room one time, and they have a panel of judges. And so I think it's a smart move to think of family recipes, because it's about the togetherness, and food just tastes better when you're eating it with other people. Like you have just someone to talk about the food with, engage in the quality and the flavor palette. So all that being said, I think my dish would be key lime pie, because it's not like a strong family recipe. It's one that I'm known for, I would say. But I think it's just like, you have slices of pie, you can just hand it out. Everyone's taking from the same pie. And so, it's a communal experience that I think will.
So you think you make the best pie?
Keith, you've
Is
got
that what I'm
competition.
hearing you say? I mean, I'm famous for my pie. JJ, we got to do a bake-off.
Yes.
Oh, let's go.
An on-the-air live bake-off, judged by Reed and Trish. Unless you guys want to enter.
Fans
the
get to vote.
fans would love it.
Fans definitely get to vote. I feel
No,
like
I do a
that's-
beautiful, this thing called the pile of leaves apple pie.
Okay.
And it's just the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. It actually doesn't taste as good as some of my other pies, but it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying, right? People love it because it's so beautiful. Well, I'm going to make a macaroni and cheese pie, so get ready.
You thought the Super Bowl was big? This is the event of the year.
Yeah, the
baking
super
bowl.
mixing bowl, we'll call it. Yeah.
Well, record your answer using the links below, and be sure that you subscribe, follow, or register so you can be sure to get our new questions and announcements right into your daily feed.
Yes, thank you everyone who's watched, voted, and recorded so far this week. Remember, the top voted answers make it on the air for our Thursday Big Show, so vote and record away.
Well, you can send your thanks by commenting, liking, or sharing on our channel. If you really love what you see, click that thanks button on YouTube. And if you send us some of that thanks, we will give you a shout out on the air, because we really, really appreciate it.
What's your family recipe that could beat Bobby Flay?
You guys are doomed.
Uh-oh, you're on. It's going to be a battle.